Yo, this is Never Gallimore from the Dallas Cowboys, and I want to give a major shout out to Mike Tag. Keep bringing the hype to the Cowboys Nation. We love and appreciate it. Now, can you dig it? Let's get it.
What's up, Cowboy Nation? What is up? It's your boy Mike Tag here. We have a special edition. You see, I'm still in the Cowboys cave, but I got the U hat. My brother went to the Too Short Ice Cube concert. I missed it because they rescheduled it. So he gave me the concert shirt. So I got that today. So I'm feeling the 305. I'm feeling, like I'm back at home. And the only way to really make it better is to really get in the 305 mood. So we got to change everything to the Canes colors, and we're going to invite a very special guest to the show. His name is Shelton Douthett. He's got a very special story, unique story. Just it's funny. I told him backstage, and we'll get into it, but I've seen him at the game 100 times. I never understood it. He wears a full uniform. You see him in the bottom corner. I mean, he looks like a player, and he was walking through the crowd, in the tailgate, and I thought it was a player. And I'm like, man, is he late? What's going on? And there's a really special story behind that. And that's what made it so cool. And I found it just by chance, just scrolling around on the internet. I found the story, and I'm like, you know what? I got to get him in the cave. I want to hear this story. I want to talk to him. More importantly, I got to see how this U is going to do, because it's been hard times on Miami, and it's been too long. So we got to see if the U is back. So let me introduce Shelton. Shelton, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. How you doing, man? Thank you for having me.
Oh no, I appreciate it. I appreciate you jumping into the cave, and we're talking Miami. So I have a huge, it's cowboy crowd. So sometimes it gets overtaken with cowboy stuff, but every now and then I like to change things up and get something for the youth. So you're first of all, where can everyone follow you? More importantly, where can they follow you?
I have on Twitter, well, formerly known Twitter on X,
We still got
uh, is the 12th man DA 12THMAN. The same thing as for my Instagram, and they can find me on Facebook, by my name Shelton. But basically on there, and I'm on TikTok as everybody else. But I mainly be on X, chopping it up with other fans as well. So
good.
that's my main form of communication to talk to other fans.
Well, the season is starting, and it is it's getting to be about that time for the U. And but more importantly, I want to get into some of your story. And I just want to fix something, because I'm getting a little. See if I change that up a little bit. I'm trying to check the color, get a little darker. There we go. There we go. Let's tighten it up. I need to get better orange than that. But but no, so I was telling people on Twitter, and telling some fans and stuff that I've seen you a million times. I kind of talked about it, and I a full uniform, and I'm talking full uniform. I'm talking full uniform that I'm wondering if you ever go out on the field and maybe try and sneak on there to help us out a little bit. In September, you're wearing a full uniform, and any of us who grew up in South Florida know how hot it is. But the story behind that is I can't say it probably as well as you, but the special bond you had with your brother Wayne. Tell us a little bit of the reasoning behind the uniform.
It goes way, way back. I've told the story plenty of times, but I don't mind retelling it. But it's not. It's a short, long story. But I would say back around in the 2000s, 90s era. Uh, my mom, she was a police officer for the city of Miami, and she used to do security at the Orange Bowl. Off-duty
Miss the Orange
details.
Bowl, by the way.
Excuse me.
I miss the Orange Bowl.
Yeah. R.I.P. I still got. one of the seats. It was all signed too.
That's
Uh,
awesome.
my mom, she used to do off duty details, security for the games, and then she gave tickets to my dad. So when we went to my first game with my brother was Miami versus Syracuse, and then we just fell in love right then and there. I had a very very close relationship with my brother.
Hmm.
He was my like my best friend and everything. So I was kind of like a loner, like when I was younger, but when I came home, he was always there to basically like play and talk to me and all that. So he was like my other half. So and he was born with a mental disability. But when I saw him, I didn't think about that. I just saw him as my brother and just treated him like as such. So we started to go to the games a lot, and we became huge fans. When we go to the Orange Bowl, we would have matching jerseys and everything. And in 2000, I would say 2009 was not 2009, but the 2009 season was the very first season we became season ticket holders,
Hmm.
and we decided to go up to Tallahassee, which will be our first road game that we ever went to. So we rented a car, we rented a car and everything, and we drove all the way up to Doak Campbell Stadium, and that was the year that Ja'Cory Harris led Miami to a win. The
Always
one,
good against the Knowles. You love that.
oh yeah, one of the best nights I ever had. So that like in to be our very first time in Tallahassee was like really really special. So we was extremely happy. But during that time after that game, my brother he developed some type of cough and everything, and we just thought it was like a cold.
Hmm.
So we didn't really pay too much mind to it because he didn't really pay any mind either. He just thought it was a cold too. But then one night I woke up and he was just coughing. He was sitting up, and that's when me and my parents were like, "No, we need to take it to the hospital because it's not a regular cough." Come to find out, he had pneumonia. He had walking pneumonia.
Oh.
So they kept him in the hospital. I didn't really go to any of the games because I didn't feel right going to the games while he was in the hospital. So I would watch the games in the hospital with him. So like one day we was just while I think it was watching the Georgia Tech game versus UM, and we was just joking around and whatever. And we during that time we collected memorabilia and everything. So like you see like
I was gonna say,
all
yeah,
these
your
helmets.
stuff makes mine look terrible. I mean, you got quite a collection.
No, I gotta get some of these jerseys framed because they still on hangers and stuff. So like my man cave is like under construction.
Yeah.
So
Let me
but
know. I can help you out with
we
that. Let me know.
yeah. So while he was in the hospital, we was just joking around and stuff, and he basically asked me like, "Yo, when are you gonna wear all that stuff to the game?" And I didn't take him seriously because we was just joking. And I said, you know what? When you get out of the hospital, I will do it for one game. Just one game. And he's like, all right, cool. So he got out of the hospital, I think about a week later. And then, everything seemed fine. But then he went back in because the fluid built back up in his lungs. So we had to take him back to the hospital. And during that time, I was in school and also I was in college at the time and I was also working. So it was just work, school, the hospital, and back home. So it was just like that on rotation.
Yeah.
So my mom told me, "Look, he's gonna be okay. Why don't you go up to Tampa and watch go to the game in Tampa because that was it was a road game that was gonna play USF
USF
in Tampa."
game. I remember that one. Yep.
Yeah, so and I was like, well, okay, I'll just go. I still didn't feel right. So it was like about 3 a.m. It was in October. It was 3 a.m. I was packing my suitcase and everything. and something didn't feel right. And I didn't feel right like going to this game without him. But I was like, I'll go, I guess. Um, and then the hospital called around 3 a.m. and if they call like around that time, it's not good news.
Yeah.
So I answered the phone in the hospital, and they said, "Can we speak to your mother?" I get the phone to my mom. She started breaking down, and then my dad knew what the news was, and they just informed him. They just informed my parents that he passed away, and it was just a completely surreal feeling that kind of rushed over me. And I didn't. I was beside myself the entire for the rest of the day, and it it just it just like it was like a gut punch, and it
Yeah.
was like this. It just ruined everything. Like ruined just. I turned stone cold. I didn't really know what to do. Like people started to come over and started cleaning the house and bringing food and saying my condolences, and I'm like, what's everybody doing here? And I'm just beside myself and stuff. So yeah, I was just trying to stay strong and everything.
Yeah.
And but sometimes I would find myself I'll just be crying and missing him and stuff like that. But then it was about after the funeral and everything. We decided to, well, we decided to bury him in the jersey that he wore to the games with me. So uh, that was extremely hard too, seeing him like that too. So,
Yeah.
but a couple weeks went by, and my parents started a memorial scholarship foundation in my brother's name at a school because he went to a school ran by nuns called the Marian Center, not too far from the stadium. Uh, they help kids with special needs and who's basically mentally handicapped and everything. These nuns are from Italy, and they run the school, and they have adult programs and stuff to help these kids out and go from childhood to adulthood. And my brother's been a part of that school for years. So they started a scholarship foundation for in his name, well, not for him, but in his name, to help out any family that that go to their school. So I'm thinking to myself, well, my parents did this special thing. I'm like, well, I wonder what I can do to honor his memory.
Yeah.
So I remember what we was talking about in the hospital. So that year they got chosen to play in the Wisconsin the Champ Sports Bowl against Wisconsin.
Yeah.
So at that moment I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do that because I never been to a bowl game or anything. Um, so I got shoulder pads, I got knee pads and everything. I already had the pants, I already had the cleats and stuff. So I decided to just go up there and fulfill my promise to him. So as I'm at the bowl game, everybody's looking at me like, why is it a player walking around out there? This is a bowl game. Why? Especially a lot of the Wisconsin fans.
Yeah.
So some actually came up to me like, why are you out here? What's going on? So I would tell them why, and they would be so moved by the story. At the end of the night, I came home with some money for people that actually gave me money for the scholarship foundation.
Wow.
So I'm like, oh, okay. I was like, oh man, this is cool. So as that went on, it just basically snowballed into this to now. So I've been interviewed by newspapers and stuff and everything, and a lot of the away games that I go to, people will recognize me, and people from the away team. Like I went up to Blacksburg, Virginia Tech, and people's like, "Yo, I've seen you before. I've seen your story, and this and that." And I've been doing this for going on 14 years now. Every game I go to, I will go fully dressed out, except for the COVID year when they didn't allow me into the stadium all decked out. But we won't count that year.
No.
But I've been doing it for 14 years, and actually still have the first jersey that I this is the first jersey I wore, and it has the Champ Sports Bowl logo that I did. So it's just been like going on and on and on ever since then. And we we kind of stopped with the whole donations because it wasn't really getting too much traction. But
Yeah.
then we kind of restarted it now, uh, because I figured like I should try to keep this thing going no matter like how bad, because like nobody was really donating to it before
Hmm.
in the past years. But now it's like, let's just try this. Let's try it again. Um, I was just trying. We were trying to get like at least 1,500
Yeah.
to donate to the school, but it's been going. This thing has been going on, and then people will like wonder like, yo, how do you keep doing it year after year after year after year? And to be honest, it's my love for the Canes and basically the the idea of family around the Canes and the feeling that it brought me and my brother uh, all these years and while he was alive. And I just how I keep my memory
Yeah.
of him with me. So and but I still take him with me to the games because behind every helmet that I've worn, it has a number 72, which was the number of his jersey that we buried him in.
Wow.
So
I mean,
uh,
I mean, I've got two older brothers. I got a younger sister. I mean, you fight back the tears, listen to this because it's just so special. But I think what's so remarkable, at least, with me, is honoring your brother and keeping that alive and turning something that's so tragic and 23 years old, nobody, that should never happen, but you turn it into something positive and really building up and helping the foundation and definitely I put a link on the chat, which will stay permanent. I put it on the channel so people could go really see your story again and hear the story, and also definitely want to find out where they can donate. I'd like to help participate and get the word out because I think it's such a great thing. I mean, it's just such a great story. And I, and so I don't want to change gears too much, but I see
it's
you
okay.
jerseys. So where do the jerseys? You got the jerseys, you got the helmets. Is that all game use stuff, or where do you get that
Yeah,
from?
they are. Basically throughout these years, eBay has became my best friend. Like eBay and a lot of people down by the university will let me know, especially Harry that works at All Canes. Shout out to Harry.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
and he would let me know like if they're like giving away, not giving away, but just like getting rid of a lot of the old equipment. But I stay on eBay. I stay on fanatics.com, like game use stuff. Some of these helmets are some of these helmets are games used. Some of these helmets are custom built. Especially this my latest one. This one was from gridiron.com. So this is the newest one I'm be going to wear this year. And it's very expensive.
that's an
So
hey, I understand these hobbies aren't cheap. I mean,
yeah,
you got a helmet case over to the side and like I said, my probably the thing that's most valuable is my 2000 team sign Canes helmet, with Ken Dorsey, Reggie Wayne, Santana Moss, and
yeah,
Dan Morgan, Vince Wilfork. I mean, that team just it was just amazing, the talent and the first round draft picks and everything with that team is just God. Those, like I say, those were the days. Those were the
yeah,
days of the Canes. But looking back at some of the good times, I'm trying to figure out. I thought I made one of some fun times with the Canes. Now, I thought I don't know where it went, but looking back on the memory of some of the Canes. So you're in that 2000, so you remember a lot of those good years, and
yeah,
we're robbed of one. You and I kind of talked about it a little bit. We don't
yeah,
like talking about that Ohio State game. And yeah, I met Ezekiel Elliott's mother at a Cowboys game, and I made sure she knew. I don't like that Ohio State, even though her son wasn't playing then. They still a Buckeye, so they have to know that the Canes are robbed of that national championship.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's technically I still count that as number 6, but I put an asterisk by it, so it's like technically we have 6 rings. So, but is what was that ref's name? Is it Porter or something like that? The ref, I guess Porter is
Yeah.
the who
Oh,
threw that flag.
was that my dad used to have a shirt because he'd go to he would go to the game. They had that one with the ref with the $100 bills. They used to do
Yeah,
those shirts. But I go back to the Canes of the Catholics versus the convicts. Back
yeah,
in the late '80s and all of that stuff. So I mean, the Canes had such a just. I always say college football is better when the Canes are on top. That's been a while. It's been some
yeah.
some rough patches. You get Cristobal in. I don't know. What was your hopes last year? What was your expectations of the team last year? I just want to see if you kind of were where I was at.
Uh, well, my expectations were very, very high, as every fan was. We think we're going to go undefeated and everything. I'm a little bit more realistic, but then everybody wanted to think their team would go undefeated.
Yeah.
So my expectations were very, very high. Obviously, we wasn't very successful. I'm not gonna beat a dead horse, but I mean, it's only so much I can say. But obviously, I was very, very disappointed, and obviously the whole team were because they did not expect it either. Because you're coming off of this basically, now I want to say like a unicorn hire, but this high profile hire, and you got a couple other high profile hires too, and you're thinking that, oh man, it's gonna be a clean sweep, and then next thing you know, it falls flat. But college football is all about it's a game of inches.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can be hot, sometimes you can be not. Look at Nick Saban. Nick Saban had his low periods, and everybody think he's the GOAT. But now you're looking at it like, okay, he's getting close to retirement. But I really have a high. I wouldn't say expectation this year. I would say I'm looking very, very forward to this year because it's a lot. It's a lot of stuff going on. And from what I hear from other podcasts, shout out to the Orange Bowl boys who basically they have their own part. They have a lot of insight, and from what I'm hearing from them, it's a lot of good looks, especially coming from the rookies, our freshmen.
The freshman
Yeah,
class. It seems like the freshman class is really high. I told you Malik Rozier. He's got a YouTube channel. He's been on the show a couple times. We talked Canes a little bit. Had Coach Erickson. We went back and everyone's high on this season. I think with Cristobal, I think we all got excited because here he's coming back to the U. You saw the success that he's had.
right.
In at Oregon, but he was here. He was part of that culture of Miami of success and dominance, and he's going to bring that back. But you almost have to understand it. It takes a little time to create that culture, and you got to weed out some of the stuff, bring in the guys that you want. You see Deion Sanders, at Colorado, he redid the whole team. But
Oh, yeah.
but I had, you want the U to be, you want it so bad that we all had that expectation. Really disappointed in last season, but
Right.
looking at this year, I'm, I'm pretty optimistic that maybe they're not going to win a national title, but I think the arrow is going to really start pointing up, and like you said, with the freshman class, and you see what's going on. I think that the U is definitely headed in the right direction.
I think the key is basically keeping Tyler Van Dyke upright.
Yeah.
And the O line we have is massive. I've seen them at Canes Fest, and they're huge.
Yeah.
Especially I don't want to mispronounce his name, but the two brothers,
Is it the one from Alabama? The one from Alabama, or no?
no, the lineman. I would say Maglagoa, the Samoan,
Oh yeah.
the two, yeah. I think they're the key for Tyler Van Dyke, and also the receivers. You got
Repo is he's from my hometown, so we got to pull for him.
Oh yeah, no. He's a good guy. I met him a couple of times, and I also met Tyler Van Dyke a couple of times. He's a humble guy, very very humble, especially Restrepo too.
Yeah.
But all as well as wide receivers, I'm looking at the defense, and I'm hearing a lot of stuff about Bain, and the dude's a man amongst boys.
Oh yeah.
So not to disrespect anybody else on defense, but that dude's a beast.
No, it seems like we got Angelica. Yeah, she's asked is a bad time to say go Knowles. We don't talk Knowles on here. I told you that. I had Charlie Ward on the show, and we talked a little bit of Knowles. That's about all the Knowles you're gonna get. You're gonna get out of me. So
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun with him. One question we had a couple questions in the chat for you. Who's
yeah.
your favorite all time Kane?
My favorite. I have a couple. If we're gonna talk about Canes of old,
All time,
uh,
all time.
one- all time, like just one, this is
Just one. Who's your go to?
Ja'Cory Harris.
Okay.
I was like, because that whole Northwestern class
Yeah.
was a beast, but then him, they come in with that swagger and not that big.
Oh,
He wasn't that big of a
yeah.
guy, but then he went up to the dope, marched downfield, got the win. So this is a shot at Miss Angelica in the chat. He went up to the door, got the win, and walked right out. So, and then the funny thing about that, when there was a picture of Ja'Cory walking out of the stadium, him throwing up the U on that night, and if you zoom in, you can see me and my brother right by in the corner in the stands, like right there, just cheering them on as he walk out. So
I'm, I'm gonna have to, I'm
that
gonna
that's
have to look for that one. And I think I'll be honest with you. I'll be honest with you. That surprised me, but that shows what a fan you are. Because I would think the first name that would come to people's mind, you're talking Michael Irvin, or you're talking Ed Reed, Sean Taylor, Reggie Wayne.
yeah.
You go on the defense, Ray Lewis. But I mean,
Mhm.
you picked a quarterback that Ja'Cory Harris had a successful career in Miami. Yeah, obviously was part of kind of like again when they're kind of redoing and getting all of this stuff that they got going on. But I got to say that just shows that you are a super fan and your Canes.
Yeah. I met a lot of them. I especially met Ja'Cory now. Yeah, because I think he's a fire
He's a
chief.
fire. Yeah, he works for the fire department. My
Yeah.
brother, I think, knows his parents in some way, but yeah, he had told me that he's with the fire department. And one other, we got another question in the chat. We talked about this, but this just goes to show what Derek Coe is in the community. That someone asked if you knew his friend Derek
Oh
Coe.
yeah, me and Derek go way back.
Yeah,
Is every time I see him and his sons, and I have a lot of respect for him, and this is why I don't get I really don't take the whole legend label as a fan. People call me a legend, and I'm the goat, and I'm like, no, you have people way before me like Derek, and then you have a Kane Freak, and then you have a bunch of other people that I've known that were fans that were long before me. So I got to give them their dues
yeah.
to being fans. But I still like take those legend compliments as a compliment. So
Yeah. Yeah. No, and I mean it's a cool thing. I told you, with my story, I'm just like I'm just a regular fan. I don't have obviously near the story that you have, but it just the passion that you have for the team, the love you have for the team. I mean that's what I love about fans, and I never understand. As Cowboys, if you're a Cowboys fan, it's a tough life. It's a tough
yeah,
life because you just get crapped on every day of the week in the media, and if you don't win at all, then you're pretty much a loser, and you never, it's over. We have the expectations that no other team has. But I relish it. I accept it. I love it. I'll never change my
yeah,
allegiance. Miami with all the stuff that they had back in the '80s and the '90s and the 2000s. People love to see Miami, break down. We had the U and the U Part 2, and now the Florida Gators are trying to ride the coattails, coming out with some documentary to see if they could try and one up Miami, but that's never going to happen.
Yeah, no. There's one thing. There's one thing that us and FSU fans have in common. We do not like the Gators at
No,
all.
I would say there's a mutual respect for the Knowles. We have
It is.
we have a
It is.
mutual respect, but we do not like the Gators. And I don't know a Miami Hurricane fan that likes the Gators. We all hate them. So another question in the chat uh, is I'm excited for Nathaniel Joseph, the true freshman. Have you seen much of him being at any?
I really haven't heard much of him, but I've seen some of his film. I
Mhm.
haven't heard of him, but heard much of him through talk and everything. But I've seen his film, and the dude's a beast.
Yeah.
The dude's a beast. But I'm really excited for basically all the freshmen, because the thing is now you have a chance to prove that you are a 5-star and a 4-star, and then all the 3 stars got a chance to prove well, I'm better than the 3-star.
Yeah.
So it's basically it's up for grabs this year.
Yeah. No, it's going to be exciting, and I think what I was going to say, I was talking to Malik Rozier with the quarterback with Van Dyke, is the offense that they have now is going to be more tailored to his down the field,
Right.
And Van Dyke just did not look good last year, never looked comfortable to me. And I'm hoping to see the Van Dyke that we saw, the end of the year before, when he was really just slinging it and putting up the yards and leading the team down the field. So I think that's the key. I think, like you said, the line is there. The receivers, we lost Rambo, we lost Harley, I think, right? We lost a couple guys there. I think the receivers, we always have skill guys, so I think we'll be okay there. But if Van Dyke can get to form towards a couple years, I think the offense is there. The line, like you said, is going to be a beast. The defense, the secondary is, about as good
It's stacked.
as it's been
It's
since
stacked.
the old days.
It's stacked. And that's what I got a lot of I'm hyped for Williams, James Williams.
James Williams, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he wears 0, right?
Yeah. He wears 0.
We talk about it in the NFL because they let all these guys wear different. They let them wear 0. Now you got to be special to wear 0.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's always good to wear number 1, but that 0 jersey is something about it,
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know if you're interested. One of the fans said if Shelton needs a signed photo of Dennis Erickson getting carried off the field after the national championship, he'd be happy to send it to you for free for your man cave if you're
Oh
interested.
man, thanks a lot. I would definitely appreciate it.
Okay,
I could use more photos
on Twitter, and he'll get your address and he'll definitely send it out to you. So.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
No, I'm so happy that I found you, and hopefully this year we're gonna see you at some games. Now, let's go through some key games.
Okay.
I was at the A&M game last year. My wife, obviously, I told you I'm a Cowboys fan, so the Cowboys were playing that Sunday. So I had this crazy idea that, hey, let's go down to A&M. How far of a drive could it be? So my wife and I flew in the morning. It's about a 4-hour drive from Dallas to A&M. It was a night game, thankfully. So we drove to the game and drove back. So didn't get home till like 2 a.m. So it was a long, long day. Well, probably one of the best stadiums I've ever been to. Were you happen to be at that game by any chance?
Unfortunately, no, I couldn't go to that game. I would. That's one of the stadiums I want to. I want to go to. That's on my stadium bucket list.
Yeah.
Now, one of them was, and another one of the stadiums was in Blacksburg. But I've been there, so I've seen the Enter the Sandman entrance, which our entrance cannot be topped.
No,
in my personal opinion, and I am being biased. But watching the Enter the Sandman entrance it gives you a little goosebumps a little bit. Nothing can top our entrance though.
Not as much.
No.
Not as much as the Canes. So
No.
that was a heartbreaker. That was like the early part of the Canes. We had a lot of expectations, right? We're undefeated, and I think the Texas A&M game, the wheels fell off from there. And
Yeah.
It just seemed like the excitement, everything got sucked out of that game. I always go back to the muff punt where I was on my side of the, and I'm like, dude, don't touch it, don't touch it, don't touch it. And he touched it, fumbled it, they get the ball. I mean, our defense held the best they could in the game, but I just don't think we ever really recovered. So now we got him back. We got him back in our stadium. I almost said the OB, but we got him back at the Hard Rock. We got him back in our stadium. It's going to be rocking. That's the first test. What's your thoughts on that game?
Like I said, we have to keep Tyler upright.
Yeah.
Texas is definitely going to come and with bravado and like basically something to prove, especially down in Miami because Texas and Florida are basically the football capitals of the United States. So they're gonna come here and show them like, yo, we got the best team. But I really think that the hype of that game and the I will say expectations from the Texas side is gonna get to them.
Yeah.
But like last year, that game was very, very winnable. So
yeah,
if we get, and I think the Texas A&M is going to be a very close game, and it's going to come down to our defense.
Oh, if you say it comes out of defense, I like that. It makes me feel a little more comfortable.
Yeah.
The offense is still, like I said, that's the part that's got me a little. I think we've got the talent, but are they going to put everything together? And I think the defense is going to be there. Now I think Miami's going to win. I think back. I'm going to be at the game. I know you're going to be at the game. We're going to be tailgating in the orange lot. We're going to be like 14, 15 deep. So I hope that for that game, I hope you come by and pay us a visit. That'd be.
They said to shoot me a location. When I go to the games, I walk everywhere and try to say hi to everybody because I don't want to be like, oh well, I saw you, but you didn't say hi to me. I want to say hi to everybody. So
now I'll
just drop the location and I'll be there.
I'll definitely shoot you. I'll shoot you a message. But yeah, we upgraded to the orange lot for this one. I said because we've got we got 4 A&M fans, some guys I work with. They're coming they're flying in for the game, but we'll mostly be Canes fans. So we're gonna have a good time. I talked to Malik. Hopefully, he said he was gonna try and stop by as well. So it'll be a lot of fun. So looking at North Carolina, just trying to pick some of these key games. They've been a thorn in our side, and they got They got the quarterback, and they got the team. And I'll be honest with you, I never thought I'd see the day where I'd be worried about North Carolina and they'd be beating us. I never would have imagined it 20 years ago. But what do you think about North Carolina this year?
Well, I don't really think too much about them because the thing is, like, we had their number a couple of times, especially in basketball too. But like this year, with the quarterback, what's his name? I forgot his name.
May, right? Isn't it?
Yeah, and he's very high on everybody's draft board, and he's
number 2 quarterback behind Caleb Williams.
Yeah, he's a sleeper for the Heisman this year. So I am worried about him a little bit. But like I said, I think if our defense can basically shut down their wide receivers. I haven't seen too much of. Well, let me stop there. The wide receivers in a running game because because the last time they ran against us, they ran all over us. I want to forget that game. That game never happened.
You're talking about the Williams and the kid who got drafted. The 2, that was terrible.
Yeah, they're not there no more. So I don't want to think about that game. But you learn from your mistakes.
Yeah,
and that game was a big one.
No, that's So there's not a huge home crowd like in North Carolina, so it's one of those. The better team is going to win. I don't think home field advantage is going to play a big part of it. So we'll see how that one goes. The one that I'm probably most excited for, and I'll be at this one. So again, we'll have to link up at this one. Clemson. So it's been a long time. It's been a few years since we played Clemson, and I always look at Clemson as the measuring stick, and maybe they've taken a notch back. I don't, that remains to be seen. But every time we had our opportunity at Clemson, it's kind of make a statement. The U is back. We got absolutely throttled,
right.
In a bad way. So We get them we got them at the Hard Rock. I'm sure the crowd's gonna be rocking. It'll be October, might probably still be a little hot, but not as bad. So thankfully for us fans, it won't be too bad. But I mean, what do you think of that game?
But it won't be a home field advantage. But the thing about it, Clemson is in North Carolina. The teams that travel well are in the South. So
Yeah,
you have North Carolina, NC State, and then you have Clemson. They travel. So I want to say it will be a home field advantage for them because it won't be. But still, I think the crowd is going to be a factor.
the crowd
And
shows up for the big game. Like
oh
I
yeah,
this argument, and maybe you can help. Now you brought up the crowd, and I try and explain to people that Miami is a private school. They don't have a large student body. It's
mhm.
8 to 9,000 or whatever it is. The stadium is like 35 minutes. They don't have a stadium on campus, and we could both talk about that. I think they should have one, but they don't. It's 35 minutes away, so it makes it difficult. And you're asking, to fill the stadium, you're pretty much asking 70,000 people that aren't with the university to show up to the games, and
Right.
it's not that's a tough task in Miami unless you're winning, because
Mhm.
there's just too many things to do in Miami.
Right. Yeah, we live where people want a vacation. That's basically it. I mean, it's not hard for me because I literally live around the block from the stadium.
Yeah,
Like I can walk to the games if I wanted to.
you got
But
no excuse then.
yeah, but the thing is like you said, if you win, it will bring people. But this logo carries weight. It does it even if we don't have a good season, people still will show up if it's the U. So it's
Yeah,
like, you see the University of Miami, they will show up.
yeah.
And I mean, I hear that. All I hear is the jokes about the home crowd not being there and this and that and blah 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 blah. But I mean, like I said, if you win, they will show up. So if I have a good feeling that this year is going to be a little bit different because I have faith. So
No,
I
I
mean,
like it. I like it. Now, the most important one that we probably want to talk about, 11-11,
mhm,
heading up to Tallahassee to Florida State. A
right.
lot of high hopes last season, and the funny thing is we had probably 12 to 14 people go to this Florida State game last year. I got pulled into a work thing, so I missed the game. I actually had one of my friends who's a Florida State fan through Cowboys. He even flew down for the game, and we just got annihilated. And thankfully, I missed it. But my son he texted me, and he had said that the stadium was empty in the first quarter. Like, it was just kind of like everyone was just demoralized. It was a bad beating, one of the worst ones that Canes had against Florida State. Um, I was surprised. I mean, I thought Florida State was playing better, so it would have been a tough fight. But I thought Miami, the crowd and everything, might have kept it close. But Florida State, they're in the everyone's loving Florida State right now. So, what's your thoughts with Florida State? This season, Miami hadn't got to head up there.
Yeah, Florida State is definitely feeling themselves. I mean, I will be too if I had a season like they had before, and then now they come back and they're hot. They are the hot team in the ACC, and I think they're like ranked them behind Clemson.
Yeah, I think they're
And
fifth. They're in the top five. I think in the
yeah,
preseason polls.
so I mean, as like I gotta give it to them. I give them. You gotta give them their flowers when they're due.
Yeah,
But Rome wasn't built in a day, so it takes time. So I have a feeling that we will go up there and punch them in the gut and walk out of there with a win. And then I'm looking forward to it. I mean, getting a hotel in Tallahassee is extremely hard. Once you get the schedule release, it's extremely hard and it's extremely expensive. So I mean,
I
like
know.
this, like
Yeah, and
there-
it's even worse. It's expensive and hard, and when you're losing, it makes it even worse. So
oh yeah. So it's like I'm shelling out money to watch them lose. So I love them to death. So this is how much I love you. I'm putting this money to watch you. So please win. But
Yeah,
I mean, but I am definitely looking forward to the game. I'm heading up the Friday. I'm gonna meet up with a lot of other FSU fans that said they wanted to meet me, and there's some that actually met me last year. They're like, "No, come on through. I'll buy you a beer or whatever." So it's like I said, it's a mutual respect. It's a love hate relationship.
it is. It is. It is, and yeah, I mean, I have optimism. Like I tell people, I'm never going to go in a game thinking we're going to lose. Like
Yeah,
whether it
exactly.
be Miami, whether it be Dallas, I don't care for. I used to tell people when Dallas was really really bad and had them real rough years, in between Aikman and Romo. I would tell people if you would just give me about 3 days, by Wednesday, I'd have you believing that we could win. Now we'd go out
Mhm.
Sunday and get the crap beat out of us, but then the next week I would do the same thing. So you got as a fan, I never understood the mentality of negativity, like, oh, we're gonna lose, oh, we're not gonna win. Oh, I just never took that as a fan. I mean, I want to
Yeah,
win every game. I expect to win every
exactly.
so, but no, just we got a lot of people that jumped in, later and jumping in and out. Make sure you
Mhm.
go back and watch the beginning of Shelton's story with the uniform. There's just a touching, special story behind that to really make bring a tear to your eye, but also just make you understand, the love of family, love of your team, and you talk about super fans, and there's so many different super fans out there, but it's just what sports, the unity it brings, the family, and you talked about from opposing teams when they hear the story and the donations to the family and the charity to help, just a great cause that provides scholarships for kids. It's just, you couldn't ask for anything better. So make sure you guys, you definitely go back and check that. But looking back again, Shelton, just talking Miami and the history. So the 2001 national title, you were able to see that, right? So you got the
Right.
well, they tell us, oh, the Cowboys hadn't won a Super Bowl in 30 years. Well, thankfully, it's 27 years to correct them always, but I'm 47, so I saw 3 Super Bowls. So the Eagles like to give us crap. They had 1 Super Bowl in 57 years. So I don't know what's better. You can't take away those championships, but that 2001 season was just a special season. And did you have a lot of memory of that? Was there any special players that you really enjoyed watching during that national championship run?
But you gotta think about when you think about the 2001 team, you gotta think about one of the greatest players that ever put on this uniform was Sean Taylor. So rest in peace to him. Also, Ed Reed when he picked up that fumble
The Boston
during the
College,
Boston
right?
College game.
Forget about
I was like, we had that game won, but now he's like, no, I'm taking this to the house.
that.
Um, you got to think about that, and then you got to think about them in the Rose Bowl, putting a rose in their mouth, and then holding up that crystal ball. That I will never forget that image. I wish we still had that trophy in circulation, so we can see it a lot more, especially when the national championship picture comes around. Because you have that that long cylinder trophy. I really don't like the design. So
No,
like
I
when
like
you
the I like the BCS, trophy. The funny
exactly.
thing, the other thing that always, when you think of that season, I just think of that Jonathan Vilma hit
Oh God.
on the quarterback, right?
Whew. I you cannot pay me to take a hit from Vilma.
No,
Either Vilma, Sharp, Will Fork. You cannot pay me to take a hit from those guys.
yeah, no, and someone's like, Ken Dorsey, was a beast at quarterback. He was the perfect quarterback for that team because you had so many personalities, you had so much talent. He was so even keel, but they said he was competitive. There wasn't no one more competitive on the team than him, and just his work ethic and everything else that went with his leadership. But he wasn't flashy, but man, he was good, and you see the knowledge, the success that he's having in the NFL as a coordinator now. I mean, we all go
Mhm.
back to that Bills. You saw the passion he has at throwing that headset around
Oh yeah. Yeah. That's definitely the Miami coming out of him. I think he was very fundamental.
Yeah,
And every time you see him drop back, it was like watching a clinic.
yeah,
And you know, and I really don't think he had too much of a success as a quarterback in the NFL. But if you will watch him in during the UM days, it seemed like you were watching Tom Brady just drop back.
yeah. No, he was special. Yeah, the NFL is just it just shows the difference when you get to the NFL, just how much it's just it changes so much, especially for quarterbacks. The delivery, the velocity, being able to hit all the throws and everything. It's just it's a totally different game sometimes. But one memory that I have, probably my greatest memory of Miami, and I don't know if you were there for it, and I'm just going to say Florida, Miami. Does that bring any memory to you in the Orange Bowl?
Um.
The greatest comeback in Miami history.
Oh God. Yeah.
Were you there for that one, Brock Berlin?
Oh man. Yes. Yes. Brock. Mr. Brock. Man. The
Former,
Gator Killer.
Florida Gator.
The Gator Killer. Oh man. I still remember, and I chuckle at the game. I was like, we shouldn't have won that game.
No, the best part of that game was all Canes fans, and we have one Florida fan. And this Florida fan, he's a typical Florida fan. Run your mouth, Miami
Right.
State. No one shows his. He still will send me pictures of the pregame when there's no one in the stadium and say, "Oh, that's all your fans that show up or whatever else." And
Right.
to see the look on his face as Miami came back, because we were getting just an absolute throttle,
Right.
from Florida, and to see Brock Berlin to beat him with their own quarterback
Uh-huh.
made it even sweeter. So to me, that is probably the number one game for me. And then I'd probably say the number two game is Florida State, when Dorsey drove him down and hit Shockey in the end zone for the game winner.
Yep.
For
Yep.
me,
I remember that. I remember that game. But the number I would say the number one game for me, this was recent, is 2017 versus Notre Dame.
oh
I
yes,
I was in there. I was in that stadium, and my God, when I say that stadium reminded me of the Orange Bowl so bad. When they ran the first pick for a touchdown,
yeah.
lights out.
So
I was like, that's, I said,
that game.
that's game.
Yeah.
That was going, and we just ran them out the stadium. Like, you could not tell anybody to sit down. Nobody was sitting down for the whole game,
Yeah,
and it felt like the Canes of old. I'm like, damn, we're back. I'm like, we're back. This is, I've been missing this feeling since the 2000s. I'm like, man, we were monsters. Like, to have, they were, weren't they ranked number 2?
No, they
No.
were ranked number 2. They were tied.
Man, I was thinking like, okay, this might be a close game, but to run them out the stadium, oh my God, I could not sit down the whole entire game.
No, that's a special one. That's one, and beating Notre Dame is always special. So,
oh God, yes.
I know what this comment is. The 7th Floor Crew. We all know about that. I mean,
yep. Everybody know about that song.
We know about the 7th Floor Crew and Third Leg Greg. I mean,
yeah.
It's funny. I listen to Greg Olson. If you ever get a chance, anyone, if you're a Miami fan or just a fan of football, go find Dan Patrick interviewing Greg Olson, and he brings up the 7th Floor Crew, and Greg Olson's face, and he's so hard to talk about him. He kind of laughs, but he goes, that was, I've got kids now, and I just pray every day that they don't find that tape somewhere on the internet. It's all over.
I'm surprised Uncle Luke didn't call him for a feature or something.
Now, I miss Uncle Luke at the sidelines. Do you think he'll ever let him back?
Yeah, if he ever finds that black green and orange a starter jacket,
Oh, Absolutely, absolutely. Um, yeah, talk about is Dorsey the best Canes QB ever? Ah,
Uh,
I don't know.
it's I wouldn't say best. He's one of the best.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, you know you have
Kelly.
Vinny, yeah, yeah,
Oh,
Vinny. You have yeah, Vinny. You have especially recent Brad Kaya,
yeah, and
Malik.
one of the forgotten ones is Craig Erickson. I mean,
Oh
he
yeah,
won 2 national titles, with Miami. And it's hard because for me, I don't know about for you, but when you look at your college quarterback, if they say your greatest college quarterback, I'm saying Jim Kelly, right? Because you're thinking NFL, but you
right.
can't think if you're just thinking college quarterback and what they were to the team. It makes for a different conversation.
Yeah, yeah, because the thing is, like, you can't really measure their success if they go to the NFL. Then, yeah, because a lot of college QBs go to the NFL and just be busts.
Yeah.
So if you're talking about Canes and let's just say a Mount Rushmore of Canes quarterbacks, yeah, I would say Kelly Testaverde, uh, Erickson, and then you have to put Dorsey on there too.
Yeah.
Honorable mention. You have the recent one. You have Jacory. You have
Brad Kyle.
Malik. You have Brad Kaya. And Brad Kaya, the dude brought us a bowl win in like the first bowl win in a long time.
Yeah.
Yep. Benny Kosar. Yeah, Kosar as well.
Yeah, yeah, but Kaya was really underrated. I mean, I think he's
Very.
a really good quarterback. I don't know if Miami just had enough talent, to support him. Then, maybe. But I thought Kaya was a very really talented quarterback, and Steve Walsh missed another national champion. Steve
Yeah.
Walsh forgot about. I mean, Miami went through that run where they just were. I mean, their quarterbacks were so dominant. One thing before we get out is the realignment. So you're seeing everything that's going on, and Malik and I we talked about it on my last show with him, and then we exchanged some tweets. Actually, it might have just been some tweets going back and forth. I can't remember, but talking about conferences and now it looks like the ACC. You're seeing they're just creating this super conferences. Where would you like to see Miami end up if you had your wish?
If I had my wish, I would wish we would win the ACC just once before we leave.
Isn't
But
it amazing Miami's never won the ACC.
yeah, I feel like that's going to change very very soon. But if I had a choice, either the SEC or the Big Ten.
Yeah, the SEC and I don't know SEC. I mean, I wouldn't mind it, but the one thing that intrigued me with because Malik had said it was the Big Ten, and I've never really thought about the Big Ten, but I was thinking, I say there's some natural rivalries there, and I think
Right.
Miami could do really well in the Big Ten, and I think what it would also do is you're going to get better games. That I think you're going to get that travel crowd for the
Right.
Rock. So I think that helps Miami with more funding and more money to help go back into the program. Because I mean, Ohio State, Michigan. I mean, those are good rivalries that we have anyway. I mean, Ohio State we talked about. Michigan, Miami back in the day was. I mean, they had some heated games. Michigan State, Miami had some games. Penn State,
Right.
Miami. There's
Yep.
history. So I thought the Big Ten was the intriguing one that I think would be the best fit for Miami as far as for a program for everything around an opportunity for success and also
Mhm.
getting bigger games at home.
Yeah, especially when you think about that, it all comes down to money. Like if you see like those big name schools as in Ohio State and Michigan annually, uh, I mean like that brings the money and
Yeah.
money talks.
Yep. It's going to be funny because it's almost like it's musical chairs, and you got like you heard Clemson, you heard Florida State, you see these teams that going to try and jump out of the ACC. Now I heard that it's not that easy. It's not going to be very easy for any of these teams to leave the ACC because of some contractual things, and that's above my pay grade. I don't know if you know any of the insight on that, but there was something they said it's not going to be as easy as a lot of these people think to get out of the ACC. Any of these teams.
No, once you bring contracts and then you have legal binding terminology and all that, it's very very hard. So when you think about that, you're going to think about buyout, and when you think about buyout, you're going to be thinking about millions of dollars that you would have to get up just to leave a specific contract. And we're like, okay, if you want to leave, you got to pay us.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a dog eat dog world. So and I don't think the ACC would give up Miami that easily because like I said, this logo holds weight. So and they're like, no, you're bringing us too much money, so we're not gonna let you leave.
No.
So I mean, it all and that's what all bogs down to.
And Miami doesn't have the money. I mean, they're not, they're not Texas, they're not Ohio State that just the
Right.
pockets are so deep. Again, being a smaller school, they don't have the leverage that some of these other teams have with their own networks and everything like that. So it'll be interesting, but it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm like I said, football starting. We got some college games this week. Then we
Yep.
got to tune up versus Miami of Ohio, and then we
Right.
got A&M. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But Shelton, I just honestly, this was you made my day. This is like I said, it was something when I saw the story, it put everything together because I seen you at the games a bunch of times and I never could figure out. I never could put together why is this guy in a full uniform at the game? What's going on? He's got to be one passionate fan, and you certainly are. But the story behind it's even better. So I appreciate it again, and definitely message me any of the charitable donations if you're doing any GoFundMe's or if there's a place where we can do donations. I definitely love to get it out on my social media platform and also
Right.
promote on my other shows and everything that we're doing. So I
Right.
definitely appreciate it. And for one last time, just let everyone know where they can find you, follow you for great content. I'm sure you talk a lot of Kane stuff. So where can they follow you?
I use, like I said, I use most basically all my social media page just to engage with people and stuff like that, and I basically post my personal life on there and stuff. But you can find me on X, formerly known as Twitter, at DA 12THMAN, which is the 12th man, and that's my Instagram handle as well. And like I said, I'll give you the link for the charity. And
Yep.
even if people don't give, I that's totally fine. You can leave like a message of encouragement, and that goes a long way too because I know where people's heart is. I know where my heart is. So if you spread the love to me, I will spread the love to everybody else. So I'm not really trying to like to poach for donations. Even if if it's just a word of encouragement, that's plenty as well too.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. It's such a great cause, and it benefits so much. So anything you can leave $5, $10, or like you said, a word of encouragement. It helps. Every little bit helps, but it's definitely just a great story. Again, family. I mean, it just everything that goes with it. Just it's hard. It's definitely touching. So I appreciate it. I want you to hang tight. I'm gonna just end the show real quick, and then I want to definitely thank you, and I want to get your information as well. So hang tight,
No
but
problem.
appreciate you coming into the cave, Shelton. Even though it's a Cowboys, we turn it into a Canes cave every now and then. So I'm glad
It's
you're
all right. It's all right, man. Hey, go Cowboys.
all right. I love it. All right, hang tight, hang tight. All right, guys. I hope you guys appreciated that. I know we do a lot of Canes or a lot of Cowboys, but sometimes we gotta do some Cane stuff. You got to make me feel better. So we had a great time, in the cave, and definitely Shelton's story. I mean, it's just you couldn't ask for anything, to take something that's so hard and turn it into a positive like he did and make it impactful. Like I said, I seen him at the games, and when I'm telling you full uniform, the man wears a full uniform to the game. It's unbelievable. So make sure tomorrow we got another special show. We're going to flip it back to the Cowboys cave, and we are going to be having Mike Sherrard, the first round draft pick of the Cowboys, 1986. It's a great story with him. It's another great story of just some tragedy, the injuries that he faced, but he fought back, had a couple years off. They never thought he'd play again. Unfortunately, he ended up at the 49ers and ended up, with our rival winning the Super Bowl with them, which I didn't like. But he's got some great stories. He was with the Giants, so there's a lot of Cowboys rivalry stuff. So make sure you guys tune in tomorrow night with Kelly and I. It is going to be a great show. And then we get ready. The season's going to be starting. So, the hype is going to be there. So definitely, if you didn't see the story, I beg you to go back and watch. I put a link in the chat on Shelton's story. I really, really want you guys all to watch it. So I will see you guys tomorrow night. Have a good one.
Eagles getting ready, because you might not like it, but you will learn to love it, because we are the best thing going today. Now, can you dig it?